Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now joining me today is my co-host, Angela Andrieux. Hello, Angela.
Hey, Vanelli. Glad to be here. How's it going today?
Real good. We have a great show today. Do
Yes.
you want to inform us what we're working on?
Sure. So today is our weekly wrap up where we go over the topics that we discussed earlier in the week. For Vanelli, he's going to be showing us how to do a painterly effect and how to choose the best black and white template for your image. And on my end of things, we're going to kind of wrap up what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks with regard to local masking and talk about gradient masks and segmenting your image that way and targeting different areas, as well as how to think like a painter, pull all those different local masking tools together to look at different areas of your image and really guide your viewer through the photo.
Well, hey, that's awesome. Now, Angela, we also have a special treat today. Should we tell them
Really?
or let them try to figure it out while they're watching?
I say let them figure it out.
All right, let's see. So, guys, in the comments, please leave comments and let us know if you notice anything that we're doing. So, as of right now, I got to make sure, Angela, that we are live because there's a little mishap.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because usually we have our entire group following us right now.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I don't see anyone to come, but that's okay. So maybe, I know we're recording, but let's continue, and this will go live to everyone. All right?
All right.
So I'm going to go first, if you don't mind.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Great. Oh, here we are. There's Pat. Hello, Pat. We were
Hey,
getting a
Pat.
little nervous. Yeah, we were getting a little nervous that nobody was here, and typically at this time, there's a ton of people. So we do have Pat on. Hello, everyone. All right. So let me dive right in. So this is the Painterly effect. Now, I want to preface this with this is something you can do in Luminar AI. It's not a painting tool. A painting tool specifically would be, let's say, Topaz, Painter, paint, what is it, Interpolate, or
Oh,
Impression.
Topaz Impression.
Yeah, Topaz Impression. So
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how we can use texture overlays to make a killer looking Painterly effect in a very short time. All right, so this is the original, and this is what we're going to turn this into. Now, here, Angela, what's really cool about this, and I showed people, is it doesn't matter the order. So unlike Photoshop or a program like that where everything has to be done step by step by step, and if you make a mistake in one of the steps, you may have to start over again. What's cool about Luminar is I can go and start my edits ahead of time, making her look really, really good, and then make the painterly effect. Or I can just start with the painterly effect and then add my additional edits. It doesn't matter which way we go with this, but I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to just walk you through what I did here. So if I come over here to the local mask, and here is the textures. Right here, let me pull the other one up. I'm going to turn it on and turn it off. I mean, how cool is that? All we're doing is we're loading a texture. I put the texture in place, and then from there, click on Advance. This right here does all the heavy lifting. So this is what it normally looks like. And then once I apply the texture to it, in fact, let's see, I'm going to clear this mask. There you go. And invert it. There. So that's the texture. Now, in order for the texture to be seen through, that's when we changed the blending mode. And now look at this. Now we brought the texture in, and at this point, the cool thing about this is I can come over here, either add, either paint or erase. In this case, I'll erase. Let's go to very low opacity, and I can just come in, select erase, and then paint over the areas I don't want to show through. Excuse me, and that's what gives us that beautiful painterly effect. So, hello, Jerry is in. So, Pat and Jerry, in the comments, do you notice anything different with what I showed so far? I'll give you a hint. Here. And then, for this texture tool, there's my texture. Watch this. Ooh, you like that, Angela, don't you?
I do. It's pretty cool.
So now we have the ability, for those of you that didn't catch on, yes, we're using Update 2. We were allowed to tease you with the newest version of Update 2. And Update 2 gave us that incredible ability now to bring in PNG files, and we're able to actually resize the texture, which will be phenomenal when we start adding watermarks or our signature to these here. All right? And there we have it. All right, Angela, as you would
Very
say,
cool.
what do you think of that?
Well, I think it's great. I love being able to bring in textures like that. And the tool has gotten so much more powerful with Update 2. I can't wait for you all to get it into your hands. You're going to love it. And it's going to open up so many creative options. So if you want to go ahead and share my screen, I can go ahead and jump into my first edit.
It's one thing I do want to say, Angela, before we go any further, these Fridays are a recap of what we've done. And if you want to see a detailed, I mean, this effect took us less than 3 minutes to do. If you want to see a full detail of it, join us on the coffee break, and you'll be able to look back at some of the older, the coffee breaks we did during the week, and that gives you a recap on it. And if you don't mind, Angela, I do want to show them in honor of National Women's, it's National Women's Month, right? Where we're honoring women. We have four, other than Angela, we have four very talented ambassadors that we want to give a shout out to, and they created some killer textures, or I'm sorry, templates for us that's on the marketplace. So let me show you guys the video real quick. In honor of Women's Day, March 8th, 2021, Skylum's Marketplace will feature four very talented women who have created signature templates for Luminar AI. Michelle Grenier has designed 12 templates for your sports and action portraits. Nancy DeCampo has designed 10 templates for nature in the city. Kate Finini designed 12 special tones for the year. And Elena Lopez has designed 10 templates to enhance natural colors. Check them out on the Skylum Marketplace under Signature Templates. There we go, Angela. So, and I've been working with some of those templates. I'm in love with them. There's a lot that are just absolutely gorgeous to work with.
They are. Yeah, they're beautiful. I encourage you, if you like using templates and you want to expand your options available to you, go over to the Skylum Marketplace, check them out. They're really beautiful.
Awesome. And before you one step further, Pat asked him, when will the new release roll out?
Yes. So we're going to start soft launching next week. And with soft launch is where we roll it out to a few countries at a time over a course of several days. This way it gives us a chance to make sure our servers don't crash, that everybody doesn't go and try to download it once. So that'll start happening next week, and everyone should have it by the 16th, correct, Vanelli?
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to share your screen. Now
Excellent.
let's get into your
All right. So this picture kind of depicts a happy place for me. All I need to do is put a fire in that fire pit, my favorite people in that circle of chairs, and, you know, that's just the best thing ever, to be on the beach around a fire pit with people I love. So that's why I chose this image to work with. It's just, it calls me. Let me show you the before. There's the before image. So I added a lot of drama, and I really wanted to draw attention to that circle of chairs. So by removing some of the people in the background, it really draws us in to where now the circle of chairs is our our focus, and everything else leads up and supports it. I mean, the sky looks awesome, the water looks awesome, but with those people there in the background, it kind of drags your eye away from the circle, as opposed to with them there, you can look all around the image, but you keep coming back to that circle of chairs. And that's what I really wanted to accomplish here. To do that, I started out with a template, and it was the Arctic Sea, which is in, I believe, let's see if I can find it. I think it was the Waterscapes. Oh, not Waterscapes. Maybe it was Overcast. There it is, under Overcast. That's the Arctic Sea template. And this is one that's built into Luminar AI. So I used that, and that got me closer to where I wanted to go. From there, I went over to the Edit tab. I did crop this to a 16:9 because the original crop was a typical 4:6, and I don't really feel like it was composed well. The horizon was almost dead center, so I moved it so my horizon line was here at the rule of thirds, and my circle here in the front takes up about 2/3 of the image. So it just felt like a much better composition and kept my viewer where I want them to be. So I did that. I also went into my local masking, and we did, well, we started with, which tool did I start with here? I believe it was structure. Maybe not structure. We did some toning to the foreground and to the sky separately. And I'm not seeing, I thought I had two separate local masks here, but maybe not. I'm trying to remember exactly what I did. And you know what? If you ever are wondering what steps you took, there's this nifty thing called the history. So we can always go back. And so here was where I reverted to the original. I did my Arctic Sea template. I cropped, I erased those people who were causing a little bit of distraction there in the background. And then I did my, masking, and then, I could have sworn that I had two different basic masks there. That's very interesting. What I had intended to do was warm up the foreground and then pull a little bit of the saturation out of the sky. So if I go back to where I added the erase tool here, so we can see where I had gotten to that point, the sky has a lot of blue in it, is a little bit oversaturated, and the sand doesn't look very inviting. So to make it more inviting, I went and added a little bit of warmth to the sand. And you can see just that little touch of warmth makes it more inviting. I inverted my mask, and then I pulled some of the color out of the sky. So let's go ahead and pop up there. And you can see the sky is not nearly as blue as it was. And then I added a vignette overall to just gently draw you in to the center of the photo. So that's how I got there. I hope you guys like this edit. It was a lot of fun to do. And like I said, being at the beach with family and friends is totally my happy place.
Wait, well, that's awesome. All right, I'm going to demonstrate and show what makes a good black and white photo, and then what templates you would use to get the ball rolling. Now, keep in mind, I'm finding a lot of templates are just one click, I'm done, let's go on to the next one. Others are looking at it and saying, well, no, I want more control. And that's okay because it's a starting point. Use it either as a starting point or as something to jumpstart your creativity. Either way, the templates are just a great place to start. Before we go any further, Angela, are you going to ask, will the new rollout support Leica Q2 monochrome?
You know, I don't know if I remember seeing that one on the list. I can take a quick look here and see if I can find that out.
I'll jump in.
I am not sure.
Keep in mind, with the new version coming out, or the new update rather, we do have the ability to roll out faster camera profiles. And so if it's not on this one, eventually it'll be on the next release, but we have the ability now to do faster rollouts on that. All right?
Yes.
So I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to share my screen. Now, let's look at what are some good candidates. This candidate here, although Angela and I love the birds, it's not a good candidate. And I'll show you why. I'm going to come over to templates, and let's, from here, and by the way, yes, this is the new version. All right, so this is the new version of it, of update 2. Look how they made all the icons the same size, And down in here, these are all the same size here, easier to find, and it just looks so much better. Now, I'm going to just jump right to monochrome. The reason why this isn't looking this good, there's not enough contrast. There's not enough contrast in this here to make it look good. And Pat talked about this before. Well, can't we just add contrast? In a case like this, there's not a whole lot we can add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the history and bring it back to where I had it. Give it a second. And then I want to show you on the contrary. So here's an image. I'm going to come to edit. Now this is already, here's before and after. As soon as it's done loading, there we go. Before and after, I applied my sports grid look to it. If I add black and white to it, look at this. There's enough tonal range to make this look really good. And then from here, I can further enhance this and make it look even sharper. There's a little stuff in here. What I would do is come up to light, check out the blacks, and dial that in. Maybe pump up the smart contrast a little bit sharper, a little bit more here. And now we took a really nice color image. We're able to make it look really good with black and white because of the contrast. Here was one of my favorite ones we talked about before. Here's before. Here it comes. And there we go. Before, after. So I looked at it. I like it. I'm going to come to the templates. Let it figure out. And right away, look, it grabbed the monochrome, experimental, close-up. Iconic is one of those that just absolutely looks incredible. So here's a good start. Edit. Now what I'm going to do is, since like I said, we're off to a good start, I can further that. Let's say under light, I'll enhance the blacks even further. Pump up smart contrast. And while I'm here, let's dial this way back. Look at that. That's going to help the blown out with the hair. Now, in doing all this, notice the face isn't well lit. So from here, let's come down to portrait. And I want to bump a little more face light. Look at that, on the subject. And black and white screams for structure and detail. And there we have it. So once again, before and after, such a beautiful classic black and white look.
I absolutely love that image. It's just so beautiful, and the black and white suits it perfectly.
Now, and I told you how I got that. Good friends of mine are my black belts, and he was getting married. He begged me to do his wedding. I don't normally photograph weddings. For friends, I will. In this case here, we're waiting for them to come up, and you know me, Angela, you give me a few minutes from my thumbs are idle, I'm going to get into trouble. And so I turned to these two, which I've known for a long time, and I whispered to her, "Give my kiss, give my kiss." And she's playing with him. He had no idea, what the heck, what do you want? And so she kept pulling him in, and when she licked his face, "Did Vanelli make you do that?" He's like, "Where's Vanelli?" And he sees me across the room snapping these shots, and these two lovebirds they just stole the show.
So cute. So
all
cute.
Right. Great, Angela.
All
So what do
right.
you have for us?
Well, before we pop into my other edit, I did look up the new camera support. So if you want to go ahead and share my screen, I have that up on the computer right now. And this is our blog post showing everything that's new in the update 2. So you can go to skylum.com/blog/Luminar AI update 2. and you'll find everything about the new version. So what we have here for new cameras, I'm pretty excited about this one for the EOS R6. And for those, the Leica question, here's the Leica models that are now supported. I don't see that Q2 monochrome on there. So unfortunately, that one doesn't look like it got added, but we did add a few other Leica models along with a lot of other very popular cameras. So that improved camera support is going to be very welcome. I just put one of my CR3 files from my Canon R6 into Luminar AI just before the show. Worked beautifully. I'm super happy.
Awesome.
So from there, let's go ahead and take a look. Go ahead.
And Dal is asking, when is the next update? And we did mention soft launch is on the 9th. And
yeah, it starts, I believe, Tuesday next week.
Yep. And then the 16th is when everyone should
Everybody should have it by the 16th.
Yep. And keep in mind, you just hit, it should appear, it should automatically update on your computer. So, or you just go to your help, update, look for updates, but be patient, it'll be there. All right.
Exactly.
We got your window.
All right. So I was told yesterday when we did this image here on YouTube that this is a lighthouse. It's quite famous in the Faroe Islands. And we've got this adventure going on here, the hiker climbing this ridge to get up to the lighthouse. And that's the story I wanted to tell and I wanted to draw the attention to. Let me show you the before image here, which is a beautiful photo. But the really only thing that makes that hiker stand out is that bright red jacket. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the image. There's not a lot of contrast. So I really wanted to work that contrast and the drama and really make the adventure and moodiness of the sky, all of that come to life. The way I did it was I did add the fast fix template to get me started. But where I did all of the heavy lifting was here in the tools. We added the, the dramatic tool. We added quite a lot of that. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And then back on again. And you'll see that just did so much for the photo. Just that one tool. But where I really got creative was with the local masking and thinking like a painter. Where did I want my viewer's eye to go? How did I want to lead them through the photo? So what I wanted to emphasize was my hiker here in the foreground, the lighthouse up here on the ridge, and then the path they took to get there. So I did 3 different local masks. And the first one, we highlighted our hiker and we darkened everything around them to kind of bring the little bit of light onto the hiker. So let me go ahead and turn that one off. Give it a second to redraw. And you'll see that balances out a whole lot of the image and the hiker no longer, I don't want them to have a spotlight on it, but I do want it to be a little brighter there just to draw your eye. So if we turn that back on, I darkened everything around them and you can see it just draws you into that hiker. And I used a nice wide feathering on that mask. We used the radial mask for that. So that's this right here. And I did a nice wide feather so it blends in, but it still brings your eye into that hiker. I then did the same thing for the lighthouse. So we can turn that one off. Give it a second. There we go. And then turn it back on. And again, it subtly draws you into that lighthouse. The third and final step here in my local masking was to paint along this ridge and just ever so slightly lighten up this path, which will take you and kind of guide you up the mountain. I wanted to make sure that I didn't lighten up too much here on the dark side of this hill. I wanted to make sure any lightness was really falling here on the right side because that's where the light's coming from. So let's go ahead and turn off the light on that path. There we go. And then turn it back on. And you can see when it's there and you don't realize that it's there, it just kind of guides you up the mountain and getting to that pinnacle and that view. I really wanted to bring that out. So hopefully you guys like that edit.
Yes. Awesome. Yes. And for those that are joining us back again, we apologize. We had a power surge or a power shortage. It knocked out the one computer, but the battery backups kept the internet going. So we apologize for that. Let's see. Let me pull this up. Now, right. Angela, Antoinette is asking, when in Photoshop you try to send a photo to Luminar AI, but it's not an option. Only option is Luminar 4 suggestions. I'll give the Windows suggestion. You give the Mac suggestion.
Absolutely. You want to go ahead and switch back to my screen and I'll show her where to find it.
Yep. There we go. And we're back to your screen.
All right. So you're going to go over to the Luminar AI menu and go to install plugins, and make sure that you have these both checked off to install if you want to be able to use it with a plugin with Photoshop. If it's not working and you're not seeing it in Photoshop, make sure Photoshop is closed. Then come back in here to Luminar AI, launch this, go up to the Luminar AI menu, click on uninstall and then reinstall, and then reboot Photoshop. It should be there. If for some reason that doesn't work, reach out to support@skylum.com and we can give you instructions for manually installing the plugin.
Awesome. And now for Windows, the only trick is right-click on the Luminar icon, and then from here, you're going to run as an administrator. So make sure Photoshop is closed, run this as an administrator, make sure, of course, Luminar is closed, run as an admin, and then go back to what Angela just showed, is where you'll come over here, and then you'll be able to install the plugins, and you'll see them right here. Uninstall and reinstall, and you'll be good to go.
Excellent.
So, awesome. Well, hey,
Are there
Angela,
any other questions in the chat?
Nope, just a lot of thank you.
Awesome.
Questions from there. So that concludes our coffee break. Angela, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun. It's been a great week, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
You got it. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you again, and we'll see you at the next coffee break.